Hello and welcome to the Every Other Saturday podcast, our brand new episode this week where we finally got to look at Michael Beale's ideas being put into plan against Leverkusen, of course, on Saturday. Friendly game, as he said, he was kind of thought was in the way. I think a lot of fans, especially with that weather and stuff, thought, aye, this is just in the way now. But it was good to actually see the players back in the pitch again, new ideas being implemented. Obviously, it's still very early doors, but Leverkusen a top class opposition, still obviously pretty early in their pre-season as well. But to test ourselves against obviously a good group of players is always welcomed, and then especially with it being Beale's sort of first official game, then you get a look at what players were underperforming under Gio. See if they've had a step up now in terms of quality. We'll talk about that. But as always, if you could like, subscribe, share, always very appreciated. So, as you can tell by the title, winning start. Malik Tillman there, grabbing two goals in the space of what was about 5 minutes. Thought we controlled the game pretty much. It was a typical friendly, but of course you want to go out and win, score goals, and sort of give you a little bit of a boost going into the game on Thursday, because I think we're all kind of left in the dark after that. What Gio left us St Mirren game. So it was nice to see a bit of quality in the pitch. And right off, I noticed just the setup of the attackers. The three were kind of in a diamond, sort of just waiting for the ball to be played out, and then we're constant pressure on them. And that sort of meant Cholak was kind of forced out right. It was either Tillman or Matondo was in the middle, and then you've got Kent out in the left, and I thought that was pretty effective as a start, I noticed. And I think just our all round plays looked a lot better. Wouldn't be hard right enough for what we witnessed, but I was quite impressed with obviously the man in the picture there, Tillman. I thought that was a great finish for his first one.
That was a great finish, mate. Fantastic finish, as you say. Didn't see much backwards passing. You only really seen it when they were using the ball correctly. But no, as I say, I thought it's the same, as you said, standard friendly. It was good to see Tillman sort of get, obviously, there's mixed opinions on Tillman. I know you've always backed Tillman. That's something I always give points where you always back him. It was good to see Tillman getting the goals. And it was a bit strange to not see us in the famous blue, but I guess you've got to get one of the kits out. You know what I mean? That you're making what's it, 17 kits a season now that every football club makes. But no, on the whole, mate, it was just good to obviously get seeing the team playing. Bit weird, obviously, when the World Cup's still on and that, and then you're coming back to what you're expecting to be doom and gloom, as we say. But it's obviously a fresh start.
Aye.
A lot of players were eager to make their mark. Someone like Divine looked decent, looked pretty decent. I won't lie, as I said to you, I almost had a heart attack when I seen Scott Arfield, Stephen Davis, and Scott Wright coming on for a second. I thought, I know it's a friendly, but Jesus Christ, I thought Leverkusen were poor. Didn't think they offered anything really. Didn't think they did anything. Couple of saves. I think it was in the first half from McGregor. McLaughlin had one. Second half, Tavernier cleared it as well. So I didn't think Leverkusen were anything special, really. To be fair.
Nah. Now you can tell they're still kind of been off for a while, and
Ah,
this is just their first step of coming back, I guess.
usually
But
a bit of quality. They had that French boy on, did they not? That wing, that
well, Diaby was on it for the
he's
start.
usually a bit of, he's a decent wee player, is he not? So obviously this friendly's in the way, but it's what we're all going to be focusing on, which is Thursday night. Finally, a real first competitive game under the lights, and as Bill was talking about as well, you'll probably have a better atmosphere as well. You'll have more of
Aye.
the real atmosphere there, so it's going to be good. But as you say, it was just good to see the players come out playing actually attacking football and actually going forward, pressing, instead of doing that backwards jiggle that we used to do, which was just suicidal.
Nah, and there was a team that started the game off. Obviously, McGregor
Mm.
still in goal, Tavernier, that's pretty standard. And then the centre half options, as Beale said,
Mm.
tight in terms of them. Still King and Sands. I was actually disappointed looking at the team sheet, because I was looking through if is there any players back, and there was just not one player that was back yet on the bench or in the team yet. But um, King and Sands obviously at the back. Thought King done all right, and Sands I thought had a really good game. To be honest with you, I thought
I
Sands
did,
played well.
yeah. I think something as I said to you, I think Michael Beale likes Sands in terms as you say he'll play any position he's probably asked, he'll do what he's asked. King definitely also he's getting a new contract, which is great. Obviously, backing the young players. I just, as I said, I think he's just been thrown in the deep end. Obviously, because with the sausage and centre
Yeah,
halves, but hopefully. they can manage him correctly now for me, and that'd be the right thing.
He maybe taking him out the firing line at times, and
Aye.
in big games. I mean, he's started some of the biggest games we've played in
Played.
the Champions League and everything, so he's been flung in right at the deep end.
Played
But
errors in those games as well, but as I say, we'll only learn for him. He will only learn.
you're
Still
only
young,
going to grow as a player, and he's still
exactly.
only 18, I guess. So the other youngster then at left back, Devine, who looks like he's probably going to start, going by what we know for the game on Thursday. Thought he done all right as well. Had some nice exchanges down the left hand side.
Maybe he's quick enough.
Aye.
Maybe that's one area I would say he lacks. It's probably pace, but defensively, and that he seems all right.
Yeah,
But
he seems all right. Still, again, he's only played about 2 or 3 games for the actual first team, so there'll be plenty to come for him because I mean he signed a new contract as well recently, and the club seem to really rate him. So the more we see him, the better, and we can see what kind of player he is. Kamara back in for the start, which was no surprise to me, especially how loved he was under Gerrard and Beale at the time. So
no surprise
Kamara.
with him and Jack being back in there. I thought, aye, two of them will be back in the team.
Yeah, I thought the two of them had a decent game as well. Kamara obviously coming back for an injury that he suffered just at the end of the winter break there before the the World Cup started. Ryan Jack as well. I think he was only back the game before.
Oh,
So he's back in about it. Tillman, the man of the match for me. Beale said he's going to give him the chance to play free football, and what Malik Tillman did was he did play free football. He was sort of everywhere, alongside the front three in the midfield as well, and grabbing 2 goals as well. His header, again, he likes a header, and it was nice to score for a corner as well. But I thought he did a really good game, and it seems like Beale is really raving about Tillman the way we all want a manager to.
That's what I'm going to say for you. Is like it must be exciting because as I say, you tell me all the time how much you rate this guy and the potential that obviously is there. And as I say, he's still young, still incredibly young, around about our age, and it's got to be exciting as I say with Beale. Going to be full for releasing him, letting him play free flowing football, which is good, especially as you said, is like any decent manager comes in, could probably get something out of him compared to what Gio was doing, man, where it just didn't look for me comfortable.
Yeah, he just looked. You need to get a player like Tillman, who's obviously 20 years old. You need him to have work rate as well. Like, obviously, he tracks back and he does do a lot of good defensive work, but you need him to be all in on the game plan. And I feel under Gio that was just never the idea. Obviously, he had some good moments of brilliance, but I think under Beale he can sort of get the best out of Tillman and in many positions as well. I think he could probably play as a centre mid, centre attacking mid across the front three as well. So he's an interesting one for me, definitely going forward. And I was happy to see Rabbi Matondo back in as well. I was happy to see him for the start. Hopefully, he can now go and nail down that starting place because for me, a guy that I've always wanted to see succeed and just feel he's kind of been unfairly treated at times. But
unfairly treated, but maybe his attitude as well. I think sometimes I'd question his attitude at times, but maybe that's wrong of me. I don't know, but just certain things I've seen when we've obviously been at the games and you see. But I thought it was positive. It was nice to see, as you said, it's a clean slate, fresh start for everyone at the club. It was nice to see him obviously making the positives. Just the quality wasn't there, and obviously he get through and he could have had a goal. Just the quality.
he should have had a go. Aye,
I had a goal. The quality wasn't there and crossing the ball and what have you. But it was good to see he was playing a bit more attacking. I do expect him. I'm not going to. I do expect him to start on Thursday.
Yeah, he's a confidence player as well. Like he's only going to thrive on getting a chance and playing well,
right.
And he's going to take that into his game. Like I just feel like he's kind of one of the guys at Beale again for a young player. I think he's the ideal manager to work under, and I think Matondo will get a lot of. Hopefully for himself as well. He obviously needs to put it into it, as we've saw times where he's never at games where he's never really he's put his head down, and he's. I think Beale will make sure he keeps going. So, I saw some flashes from Matondo that I liked. Ryan Kent, I feel again just struggling to get to that level that we need him at. It's just really frustrating.
It's as I say, mate. Everyone keeps going on about Ryan Kent to Beale and he keeps coming up with the same stuff. Obviously, known him since a young boy, but I'm sorry if we let a player that we signed for a hefty fee leave for free this summer. That's to me embarrassing. if he's not committed, he's got to go in January. But obviously, you'd like to get him on board. We know how special and you know what I mean. A fantastic player he can be when he's on his game day. But just for me, mate, the money we paid for him, and if he leaves in a free, it would be disgusting, man.
Nah, I think that will be over the next coming months and up until the very end. Like Goldson, like he's going to need to knuckle down as well, and we need to see the best version of Ryan Kent that we possibly can. And again, going back to Beale, I think this is going to work out for him in terms of the play style is going to suit him down to a T. Like we see the wingers sort of changing areas all the time, and there's never really one sort of out and out front three. They all sort of interchange with each other, which I
Yeah.
like. And I think Kent, I think as time goes on, whether he sees at the club after January or not, I think he'll hopefully kick on. Cholak for me just wasn't in the game at all.
Jolak's he's definitely a Geo guy. As I say, he's definitely a Geo guy. It'll be interesting to see how Michael Beale use him. I don't think he was in the game at all as well, mate. I agree with you. I don't know. Maybe it was Hingway, but fucking who knows? He might play him on Thursday still, but I don't think he was in the game at all, mate.
Aye, for me, I like Cholak. Obviously, he scored a lot of big goals for us when we've been really poor, but I just feel like he just lacks that sort of threatening number
Ah,
9. So yeah, obviously get the instinct to score goals and you put it on a plate for him, but you want a striker working for the ball bang. I just don't see Cholak working a lot like Morelos would, for instance.
aye,
Like
doesn't set the tempo.
yeah, aye. And then who obviously the subs were McLaughlin when he came on, Lundstrom, Davis,
Ah,
Morelos,
yeah,
Wright, McCann. Fashion Junior was back for a bit. He got what was it, half an hour or something.
aye.
Arfield obviously got the third goal and Lowry as well. Fraser came on for a bit. So aye, it was nice to see everybody get a chance really. Obviously Michael Beale would have wanted that, and heading into the Hibs game last time, which was an absolute disaster in a game. Um, Down to 9 men on that day,
Aye.
2-1 up. Lundstrom obviously gets sent off, Morelos gets sent off, and then we concede very late on at Easter Road. Hopefully, a different story this time at Ibrox, right enough. We need every single point we can possibly take now. It's the position that we've sort of put ourselves in. So, aye, this has to be. This has to be what Beale's been talking about. We have to go and absolutely ragdoll Hibs here. And I know Hibs are going to try and make it hard for us, as they always do. But at Ibrox, especially, under the lights, Beale's first proper game. The team must be up for it.
Got to be up for it. If they're not up for it, as I say, this is where it starts now under Michael Beale. As you say, we can't afford to drop any more points every game. Every game is a must win now. So it'll be interesting, as I say, mate, to see who wants it and who doesn't want it, because that's what Michael Beale's going to be assessing. As I say, with these couple of games coming up, he's going to be assessing who wants it and who doesn't want to be a part of the project, as he said. Hibs, obviously, they'll make it difficult. Obviously, I don't even want to talk about it, but certain rumours with a certain centre back, I hope it's not true at all, because I'd literally launch myself out my window if that was to happen. But overall, mate, I hope, as I say, it'd be interesting to see his team. I know he was talking about Ben Davies and Connor Goldson potentially being fit and ready to come back, which would be a massive plus. You don't want to rush to Connor Goldson, especially Davies. He's been in and out the team, man. So
No.
you don't want to rush the two of them. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you play Connor Goldson with King, and maybe you swap King off or whatever. You know, just to manage it. But
Yeah.
I know if Connor Goldson comes back, he doesn't want to miss a minute, and I think he's going to be a guy who's really going to be excited with the prospect of working with Michael Beale again.
No.
Well, just as you think most of the players that were there for last time Beale was in the door, so it'll be interesting, mate. But as I say, Hibs will definitely. I expect some fouls. I expect them to get away with some stuff. But overall, we got to put the ball in the net a couple of times to just set the tempo and show these are the standards, and the standards are back to stay.
Yeah, and the standards that we have to keep pushing every game. Like, as Bill said, he wants to play attacking football that's good to watch. I don't want to be freezing my balls off
Ah,
in the stands
nah.
watching us play like we did under Gio. Like I'm excited with the prospect, obviously, that's to come with the style of football. I know Hibs will make it tough, but I think we've got enough there, especially with a new manager. You always get a bounce for the players when a new manager comes in, and the team that I think will play the game. I don't think he'll risk Goldson here. I think Goldson will play from the Aberdeen game. on the Tuesday. I just feel it's such a big risk after such a long injury to bring him in straight away. I think he might give him this one off. I expect Davies to be back though. I
But
don't
that's what
think
I'm
I don't I
saying.
don't think Davies was a huge injury, which is the thing. It's sort of in and out as you say, but I think he would be back. I would imagine.
Mm. No, it's just as I'm saying. It's a bit concerning, although it's not a major injury, but it's a bit concerning still. As I say, he's in and out of the team. But who knows? I mean, Devine, he's got a massive job to do at the left. I mean, if that's the left side of the defence, they've got such a massive job to do. As I say, I still thought we were a bit. If you're looking at any area for us, obviously it's the obvious. Defensively, we're still, I think, so weak.
Mm-hmm.
To say, but
Once you get your proper back four back though, I think it'll.
aye, obviously it's a different story when you get the proper forward back. But just at the moment, I just think
Yeah, you need to watch that left hand side, and I think he will go with King over Sands. I thought Sands done no wrong. I thought he was really good in
I think
the
that's
game on
sort of
Saturday. But
Sands' season, mate. He doesn't really do any wrong. Obviously, you could maybe go on about Champions League and Napoli, but I don't think he does any wrong. Do you know what I mean? I think he's just that hard working, good rotational sort of kind of player. But if we're paying her 5 odd million for him, no, thank you very much. Do you know what I mean?
I think he'll stick with King. He did mention in his press conference about James Sands sort of playing out of position, so I think he sees him as a midfielder. So Devine, I think, is a shoe in to start a left back off. So we've still got one at the World Cup. They'll be travelling home possibly, and we've still got Yilmaz, who yet we don't really know what's happened. So I think we need to start Morelos in my opinion. I just don't think Cholak's going to offer you what Morelos is going to hear.
I know, but he still looked a bit sluggish to me. He still looked like, you know what I mean? Morelos is usually chasing down every ball. He still looked a bit.
For me, I'd start him.
I know, of course, he would start him when he's fit and he's proper. I get that, but I just think to myself, I don't know what it is, but he still looked like he was on the beach for me a bit.
Yeah, but the way I look at that is if he's still in that state, like, I obviously, what do? You need to play strikers. Like,
yeah, but that's what I'm on about. That's the situation there with Morelos and Cholak. Although Cholak's been fantastic for us so far, he's put the ball in the net. I just think he was definitely one of them. It was a Gio signing, and maybe Michael Beale, obviously because of the style he wants to play, maybe doesn't see Cholak as the starter. It might be the situation with Kemar Roof where he just comes on, he puts the ball in the net. Do you know what I mean? That kind of striker, but.
I think this is more Morelos' type of game, just against Hibs. I think Cholak does well at times, but I think for me it's always going to be Morelos.
Maybe the kind of games where maybe Cholak goes missing a bit. He's not involved in the game as much as he is. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Morelos is going to be involved. He'll be chasing down Everton. Obviously, he'll be competing with that scumbag. So, Matondo. I hope Matondo gets a start. It'd be nice to see him get a start. As I say, I thought he played decent. Obviously, should have had a goal, but we'll see how he does.
I think with Sakala obviously just coming back off an injury. Scott Wright, we all know about Scott Wright. I think that leaves Matondo, or what we done under Gerrard and that, like Tillman could play there and we could put in an arm midfielder, but I just feel like the formation is going to sort of Kamara and Lundstrom will sort of stay back and Tillman will be the one in the middle. And then obviously the three, we know we need pace and we know we need like Kent Matondo chasing down the Hibs backline and pressing them into make mistakes is going to be key. So I'm happy with that team. Obviously the defence, as you say, looks a bit weak, but when you get Goldson back there and you get either Barisic or Yilmaz in at left back, I mean it's looking like a decent team if everybody's fit and firing and everybody's sort of shown what we know they can show. I mean it's a decent side.
As I say, maybe not weak is a word to use. Maybe I would just say experience is what our backlines are missing. But then obviously you've got Tav there, which is probably the most experienced midfielder we've got there. But midfield wise, I wouldn't be shocked to see maybe Kamara and Jack start again. I wouldn't be shocked to see that with Tillman, but you never know. I wouldn't be shocked if Scott Arfield gets subbed on and gets a goal. This guy, honestly, every time me and you talk about me, ends up getting a goal. I don't know what it is.
It's always going to be interesting to see the manager's first sort of official team sheet, because then you can sort of see where he's going to go in the future, and you can obviously start making your you'll pick his favourites and whatever. But I think at the moment with the players that we've got available, obviously
Doesn't really have an option really in terms
Aye.
of
Well, a
what
lot
big.
of the defence it kind of picks itself. I think midfield is still weak. I just don't think any of the players are that better than any of them. I think Kamara and Lundstrom are probably the best out of the two, but apart from that, I think this is probably what we'll see against Hibs. Hibs, I'd imagine, to just stick to their back five as well. So it'll be tough to break them down, but I fully believe that we can go and cause problems and hopefully get the victory at Ibrox.
That's the plan, mate. This is where it all starts now. This is where the work begins, as I keep saying, mate. It's where the standards get set in. I would like to see a couple of goals going in it. Obviously, we know Hibs will be a difficult side. They'll be up for the tackles and what have you. I would imagine a couple of cards for them, but aye, I'm just hoping to see a couple of goals. As you say, you don't want to stand the freezing cold and watch
No,
that
please,
level.
please make it worth the while. Aye.
Aye.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the reception Beale's going to get and see what the players are going to input into the pitch with his ideas. So, aye, if you liked it, like, subscribe, share, and we'll be back next week covering this game and also obviously looking forward to the Aberdeen game. The games are coming thick and fast, so we'll see you then.